Part 116. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 1165. Pan Tuo Divine Sword. Woe, there was a bloody sword light, like the sun rising in the east, and it was hundreds of millions of miles away in an instant. The fire knife and blood sword were like two huge divine dragons, crashing into each other. Dazzling light soared into the sky. Under the surging energy, even Su Junming and the giant spirit god couldn't help but retreat. The violent waves of destruction expanded crazily towards the surroundings, and the aftermath was so powerful that it swept across hundreds of billions of miles in an instant. The people of the giant spirit clan who were watching the battle were pushed back repeatedly, in great embarrassment. The power of Hongmeng Lingbao, even if it is not pushed to the extreme, is still earth-shattering. The amount of movement was more than 1,000 times greater than when the two were fighting before. Of course, as a peak martial saint, the consumption of activating a treasure of this level is also huge. It is simply impossible to imagine the fierce battle before. After depleting the energy and blood in the body, it becomes fish and meat at the mercy of others. However, Su Junming is obviously much stronger than the giant spirit god. In addition to martial arts energy and blood, he also has powerful magic power. Therefore, it is much easier to deal with it. We can't drag it out any longer. The giant spirit god knew in his heart that the further he delayed, the more beneficial it would be to Su Junming. Take a deep breath. Hold the long knife with both hands. The divine consciousness is deep, and the divine mark on the sword is hooked. Qi and blood flowed, an obscure yet powerful wave surged in layers. At the same time, streaks of dark red clouds appeared around the long knife. There are more and more colorful clouds, gradually turning into a vast magical talisman that reveals the charm of infinite flames. Even from a great distance, Su Junming could clearly sense the overbearing flame Daoyun in it. Supernatural powers. Su Junming said secretly. Similar to monks, each Hongmeng spiritual treasure will have unique magical powers. The fire demon sword is obviously a magical power of fire. As for Su Junming's giant arm of destruction, although it only has two restraints, it possesses two kinds of Hongmeng magical powers. One is the Tiangong divine furnace that destroyed the last catastrophe during the tribulation. The second type is the Tao of creation, the divine light of creation. In comparison, the fire demon sword, which also has two restrictions, only has one magical power, which is undoubtedly much inferior. Of course, the reason why the same prohibition creates such a gap is not due to the forging skills, it is that the fire demon sword is the natal magic weapon of the Hongmeng master, while the destruction giant arm is a creation of heaven and made through sacrifice. What's even more rare is that Tiangong Taoist and fellow practitioners are both practitioners, and they are also breaking through the realm. After trying their best, they are naturally extraordinary. At this moment, the long sword of the giant spirit god has been completely shrouded in the talisman, and the majestic flames have dyed the surroundings hundreds of millions of miles red. The endless red divine light absorbs a huge amount of chaotic spiritual energy. In a moment, the magnificent sound resounded through the boundless chaos. 7 evil gods fire to suppress hell. Buzz, accompanied by a mysterious trembling sound. The red divine light boiled instantly. The next moment, chaos swept across billions of miles like lightning. Before Su Junming could react, he was enveloped in it. The extremely domineering flames, with the charm of Taoism, rolled out. In an instant, even the space was burned. His spiritual consciousness was burned to ashes by the strange and powerful 7 evil divine fire. Even the eyes were burned. All tangible and intangible things cannot escape the flames. In the endless dark red flames in the depths, it is impossible to distinguish things and the vastness of the flames. Once caught in it, it is almost impossible to escape. Su Junming activated the giant arm of destruction, and the Tiangong divine furnace shed heavy light, blocking the surrounding flames. Activate the divine mirror of Dian, and the chaos of billions and billions of miles is before your eyes. It can be seen that the area covered by the rolling 7 evil divine fire exceeds 100 Hunyuan worlds. The dark red flames soaring into the sky, touching the sky to the ground, are domineering and fierce. It is indeed a Hongmen-level method. He stretched out his hand to reveal the protection of the destruction arm, and the billowing flames instantly wrapped around him. Su Junming's arm, which had reached the pinnacle of Hunyuan, had most of the skin and flesh burned off in an instant, and the strong bones also showed signs of melting. Severe pain also came. He frowned and took his hand back. He subconsciously activated his magic power to extinguish the flame, but as soon as the magic power was sent to his right hand, it instantly became the nourishment for the burning flame. It was like a gangrene attached to the bone, burning straight towards the arm. So overbearing. With a thought in his heart, the giant arm of destruction was shrouded in magic, and the flames were quickly put away. Staring at the violently churning flames. This 7 evil divine fire contains the power of the 7 emotions and boundless evil energy. It is not suitable for refining weapons or elixirs, but it is suitable for body refining. Thinking of this, the Tiangong divine furnace transformed by the magical power of the giant arm of destruction instantly swelled. In an instant, it turned into a giant of hundreds of millions of feet. Su Junming made a hand seal and shouted. Scold! With a boom sound, a huge black hole appeared in mid-air as if it collapsed. The rolling 7 evil divine fires swarmed straight into the huge cave. But in a moment, the flames hundreds of millions of miles around Su Junming had dissipated. The sudden change was instantly sensed by the giant spirit god. However, this 7 evils prison suppressing divine fire is already the strongest magical power he can activate. If it cannot subdue Su Junming, his chances of winning this fight will be slim. However, if you think that just sucking and squeezing can take away the divine fire and get out of trouble, I'm afraid it's not that easy. The 7 evils suppressing hell divine fire is nothing else. It is supported by the infinite chaotic spiritual energy around it. Unless all the flames can be extinguished instantly, it cannot be extinguished at all. Soon Su Junming also noticed the mystery. It's a bit troublesome. But it's not a problem for him. Activate the magic power in the body, and the space magic symbols in the Danshan shine. Mustard Na Sumeru. The power of the natal space magical power is extraordinary, and the tyrannical power of space flies in all directions like lightning. In an instant, all the 7 evil divine fires were surrounded. The giant spirit god instantly noticed the change and was about to take action. The divine power of space retracted instantly, taking away all the 7 evil divine fires. In just an instant, it turned into a dark red fireball tens of millions of feet in front of Su Junming. In fact, he can continue to compress, but the consumption of mana will increase exponentially. With a casual throw, the Tiangong divine furnace, driven by the giant arm of destruction in mid-air, instantly swallowed up the fireball. The time talisman was activated, and a crystal-colored divine light enveloped the Tiangong divine furnace. Time seal. An extremely mysterious talisman was integrated into the Tiangong divine furnace, and all the flames and charms dissipated instantly. With a move of his hand, the Tiangong divine furnace derived from Taoism shrank in an instant and fell into Su Junming's palm. He held it in his hand and tossed it with a smile on his face. With this kind of fire, just a little bit of sacrificial training, I can't believe that I will have an extra Hongmeng spiritual treasure in Chongshan. He put away his wave and stared at the giant spirit god in the distance. Fellow Taoist, if you have any other means, please use them. Looking at Su Junming, who was calm and composed, the look of the giant spirit god changed, and the scene of his strongest means being defeated by the opponent appeared in his mind. Subconsciously, he clenched the fire demon sword in his hand. But after a moment, he let go again. If the Hongmeng Lingbao does not fit your path, it will consume a huge amount of mana and blood every time it is activated. The previous crazy battle, coupled with the two activations of the Fire Demon Divine Sword, especially the last 7 evils suppressing Prison Divine Fire, were particularly draining of energy and blood. Now the energy and blood in his body is only average. Not even your strongest means can do anything to the opponent, and any further fight will be a waste of mana. After a fierce struggle in his heart, he gritted his teeth and withdrew the great magical power of Fa Tian Xiang Di. Seeing this, Su Junming knew that he had won. He swayed his body, and after also withdrawing his magical power, he took a step forward, shrinking the infinite space under his feet, and instantly came to the side of the giant spirit god. Fellow Taoist giant spirit, I accept the offer. After staring at Su Junming with a complicated expression for a while, he sighed longly and cupped his hands. Fellow Taoist Su is so powerful that Pantheon admires him. That being the case, I also ask fellow Taoists to abide by their previous commitments. I am willing to accept defeat, and my fellow Taoists can do whatever they want, the giant spirit god said. Fellow Taoist is indeed upright. Don't worry, if I, Chongshan, get Pango's inheritance, my Taoist friend must have a share of the credit. With a thought in his heart, a powerful gravitational force enveloped the entire world of giant spirits. The huge force drags the world of giant spirits to continue flying towards the depths of chaos. At this time, the giant spirit tribesmen who were watching the battle flew over and surrounded the giant spirit god. They looked at Su Junming with unsightly expressions on their faces. But no one dared to say more. After all, they had watched the two people fight with their own eyes. The huge movement and the Taoism that spread across billions of miles at every turn completely exceeded their imagination. Especially the huge sea of fire released after the clan leader used the fire demon sword. Across the endless chaos, one can feel the tyranny within that burns everything. But even so, there was still nothing Su Junming could do. Losing to such a strong person, no one can say anything. Fellow Taoist giant spirit, as far as I know, isn't there another Taoist in the Hunyuan realm among the nobles? How about calling to meet him? I just have something to discuss with you too. The face of the giant spirit god changed slightly. How do fellow Taoists know that there are still Hunyuan realms in my clan? Smile lightly. Dissatisfied fellow Taoist, I am quite good at deduction. As he spoke, he patted the gourd on his waist, and the spiritual light sprayed out, and a water mirror condensed into shape. Soon an old woman wearing a black robe and holding a dove staff appeared in the mirror. Seeing her, the expressions of the giant spirit god and the giant spirit clan members suddenly changed. The existence of Wuzhu is the secret of the giant spirit clan. Unless one reaches the Hunyuan realm in cultivation, even the giant spirit clan members will not know that there is such a powerful person at the Hunyuan golden immortal level in their own clan. For such a secret matter to be known to an outsider like Su Junming, one can imagine how much impact it would have on the psychology of the giant spirit people. Staring into Su Junming's profound eyes, the giant spirit god took a deep breath. He is also a decisive person. Regardless of whether Su Junming learned of Wuzhu's existence through deduction as he said, but now that it has been exposed, there is no need to continue to hide it for the sake of future cooperation between the two parties. Make secrets with both hands and use magical powers silently. Not long after, a shocking rainbow flew from afar across the chaos. Soon he came in front of everyone, and an old woman wearing a black robe and holding a dove staff appeared on the ground. Thanks to the book friend Boring Zioxy for the 100 starting coin reward, thank you very much. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 1166. Chapter 1145 Chongshan Pan, the Magical Gong. Lord Wuzhu. See Wuzhu. Everyone in the giant spirit clan saluted. The old woman nodded slightly and looked directly at Su Junming. Fellow Taoist Su has extraordinary strength, which really opened my eyes as an old guy. Wuzhu's eyes flashed with surprise. I thought that with the fire demon sword in my hand, I would be able to defeat Su Junming, a native from a prehistoric world. Unexpectedly, the battle was full of twists and turns, which shocked her again and again. Su Junming's dual cultivation of martial arts was one of them, his giant arm comparable to the fire demon sword was another, and being able to know her existence was another. All three of these made their previous plans completely in vain. Fellow Taoist, thank you very much. Su Junming said calmly. Fellow Taoist Su said earlier that he had something else to tell me equally. I wonder what it was. According to the previous agreement, the world of giant spirits should be integrated into my Chongshan Hunyuan world. From now on, you will be a part of my Chongshan Hunyuan world. However, my Chongshan world is different from other worlds. Su Junming overhauled his hand and the scenery in front of him changed drastically. A huge light blue world appeared in front of me. On the periphery of this blue world, there is also a chaotic world. In this chaotic world, there are dots of auras, like countless stars. 24 sacred banners tens of millions of meters long were arranged into an astonishing array, isolating these little bits of light from the violent chaos of the outside world. What a powerful formation! Wuzu was amazed in his heart. She also has a certain understanding of the formation, but with her knowledge, she has never seen any formation that can compare to the one in front of her. And the giant spirit god and others also understand that this is the Chongshan Hunyuan world. However, just by taking a glance, they already understood that this world was far more majestic and vast than what the outside world imagined. It has even gone far beyond the current prehistoric world. Everyone has also seen that this is my Chongshan Hunyuan world. The existence in the middle protected by the Great Formation is called the Sea of Chaos. As soon as my heart moved, the scene that was originally no more than 1,000 feet suddenly expanded 100 times. The content is also much clearer. At this time, the giant spirit tribe people saw clearly that the dots of light were not the planets they thought, but giant spiritual roots that were hundreds of thousands, even millions, or even tens of millions of feet high. Among them, the lowest grade ones all have high-grade Hunyuan spiritual roots, and the strongest ones reach the top grade. In fact, whether it is high-grade Hunyuan spiritual roots, top-grade Hunyuan spiritual roots, or even innate spiritual roots, they are all available in the giant spirit clan. But now there are millions of spiritual roots, which is really shocking. Staring at the shocked expressions on the faces of the giant spirits, Su Junming smiled calmly and continued. The rules of our Chongshan world are that all beings who have cultivated to Deluo Xianxian and above must go to the Sea of Chaos to cultivate, and are not allowed to go to the main world unless they have something to do. The world of Taoists in the mountains is really shocking. The giant spirit god took a deep breath, suppressed the shock in his heart, and said slowly. After many years of operation, it has reached this scale, which makes fellow Taoists laugh. The pretended giant spirit god continued. I have no intention of opposing the rules of fellow Taoists, but unlike Chongshan Academy, my giant spirit tribe does not have so many spiritual roots to help our tribe cultivate in the Sea of Chaos. Haha, fellow Taoist, don't worry. We, Chongshan Academy, have our own solution to the matter of spiritual roots. We will ensure that every giant spirit tribesman in the Deluo realm will be accompanied by acquired high-grade spiritual roots, and every giant spirit tribesman in the Hunyuan realm will have accompanied by the best acquired spiritual roots. The faces of the giant spirits changed, and there was a hint of eagerness in their eyes. It's really admirable that fellow Taoist is so generous. However, I'm afraid this spiritual root was not given out of thin air, right? Naturally, after all, cultivating a spiritual root will consume countless resources in our Chongshan mountain. If we don't ask for anything in return, we will only be wasting our efforts, which is not a long-term solution. But you don't need to worry too much. After the spiritual root is given, you don't need to pay spiritual treasures. You only need to use the spiritual root to refine the chaotic spiritual energy every day. When running the spiritual machine, 1/10 of the spiritual energy will be introduced into the main world. That's good. The giant spirit tribesmen breathed a sigh of relief. It's only 1/10, not too much. Seeing them like this, Su Junming had a smile on his face. What wonderful leaks, it's time to harvest more. Fellow Taoist, this refining inspiration must come to an end, right? Wuzu said. There is always someone with a clearer mind. Su Junming waved his hand, and countless spiritual lights flew towards the giant spirits. Subconsciously catching it, a 3-foot-sized cyan stone plate with hundreds of divine patterns engraved on its surface appeared in everyone's hands. What shocked the giant spirits was that every stone plate was a Hunyuan spiritual treasure. Although it was only low-grade, dozens of Hunyuan spiritual treasures were sold at once, which was a huge deal. This stone plate is called Chongshan plate, and it contains a teleportation array. You can activate it with just mana or blood. As soon as Su Junming finished speaking, his spiritual light surged, and a giant formation measuring 10,000 feet appeared in mid-air. Obviously, some of the giant spirits who could not bear their curiosity activated the formation. Looking at everyone, they hurriedly withdrew their energy and blood, the formation dissipated, and a stone plate floated into their hands. This Chongshan disc can mark space landmarks. After marking, you can travel freely. As soon as these words came out, all the giant spirits looked happy and subconsciously held the stone plate in their hands. In addition, Chongshan Panhui records the number of spiritual machines that everyone operates every day. One day is one achievement. If you accumulate 3 Yuanhui, the spiritual roots will be completely owned by everyone. 3 UN meetings. It won't take long. All the giant spirits were talking about it. Martial arts practice consumes a lot of spiritual energy. Didn't they practice for tens or hundreds of yuan until now? 3 Yuanhui is not that long. Moreover, he also obtained a top-grade acquired spiritual root, which is not a loss no matter what. Is Brother De Luo also a member of the 3 Yuan Shui? Asked the giant spirit god. Su Junming nodded. The amount of spiritual energy that De Luo monks can use is certainly not as good as that of the Hunyuan realm, but what they get is only the acquired high-grade spiritual roots, so the time is equal. Everyone, I value your accumulated gong very much. I have a sermon in the Hunyuan realm in Chongshan Chaos Sea. If you want to listen to the lecture, you need to pay the spiritual gong. There are alchemists who buy and sell spiritual elixirs, and perhaps spiritual skills can be exchanged for them. All the cultivation resources cultivated by weapon refiners, ritual masters, spiritual field masters, beast control masters, etc. are also exchanged for gong. In the Chongshan library, the practice notes of the Hunyuan monks of all dynasties, and even the Hunyuan Golden Immortal, must be paid to read. So, be sure to cherish what you have earned through hard work, lest you feel it is not enough when you use it. Su Junming talked eloquently. Let the leaks know how they are exploited, no, how they are cared for. Looking at their excitement, it is obvious that they are full of expectations for life in the new world. Boom! A huge black space channel appeared, like a huge mouth, swallowing up the world of giant spirits. A huge land mass comparable to the Emperor Wa's sky fell deep in the Southern Ocean. The endless waves were quickly calmed down by the powerful power of the world. At this point, the pattern of Chongshan continent in the center, Wawan continent in the north, Sumi continent in the west, Giant Spirit continent in the south, and Shadow Realm continent in the east was formed. With the addition of the Giant Spirit world, the area of Chongshan Hunyuan world has reached twice that of the ancient times. The powerful power of the world is already comparable to that of ancient times. Needless to say, there is no need to say more about the resettlement of the Giant Spirit clan. With their joining, the foundation of Chongshan world has become much stronger again. Rolling chaos, boundless, no one knows how vast it is, and no one knows how long it has existed. But in this chaos there are countless miracles. There is a vast world, various precious spiritual materials, and a large number of monks that are almost uncountable. Shua. One after another spiritual light flew in, breaking the chaotic tranquility. The spiritual light dissipated and several figures appeared. One party is wearing a bright yellow robe, a lion's nose and a wide mouth, a majestic face, a golden crown on his head, a tall and strong man. On the other side were a man wearing a lavender robe and a noble temperament, and a woman wearing a phoenix crown and a halo, with a majestic aura. Although there were a few attendants at the rear, it could be seen that these three were the main ones on both sides. After a moment of solidification. Shen and I, we meet again. Pan Gan, Pan Kun, we haven't seen each other for many years, but you are still the same. After a brief exchange of greetings, both parties went straight to the topic. The original plan to conquer the prehistoric world will have to be changed, Shen and I said. The Daihuang clan and the Renhuang clan nodded. None of them had expected Su Junming's existence before, and of course, more importantly, Yang Mei was hiding behind his scenes. You, the Desolate Beast clan, can't figure out the whereabouts of Chongshan world. We have tried our best, but unfortunately we have achieved nothing. It's a bit unbelievable to say that Shen Ni is a god. In order to find out the whereabouts of Chongshan world, he has exhausted all means, but there is still no result. Unexpectedly, the people sent out to search were nowhere to be found. It seems that you humans have the same result. The Daihuang clan and the Renhuang clan nodded. Su Junming is nothing to worry about, but Yang Mei, who is hiding behind the scenes, deserves more vigilance. On our side there are two Hunyuan golden immortals, holding heavy treasures, sitting in the chaos in the wilderness. Once Chongshan world wants to seize Pangu's inheritance, they will step forward to stop them. I'm afraid they may not be able to stop Yang Mei, Daihuang said in a deep voice. The five sages of the ancient times already had little reputation in the ancient era, and it was only in the ancient era that they truly became powerful beings that transcended the world. Nearly 100 UN will come down, even they don't dare to ignore it. In particular, Yang Mei used space to achieve enlightenment, and once blocked a master's three-step Taoism. Their strength was so strong that they were ranked first among the five saints, so they couldn't help but be cautious. They don't need to be able to defeat Yang Mei. As long as they block one or two at the critical moment, let us kill Hung Jun and get Pangu's inheritance. The Daihuang clan and the Renhuang clan pondered for a moment, and after looking at each other, they understood the other's plan. Although Shen Ni's proposal is not a perfect solution, it is still the best option for now. Thank you to the book friend for the reward of 100 starting coins, thank you very much. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 1167. In addition to Yang Mei, there is also the giant spirit god. He suddenly urged the giant spirit world to go deeper into the chaos. There must be a reason. And most likely because of our pressure, he chose to join forces with Yang Mei. Human Emperor said. This matter really has to be guarded against. Shen Ni continued, what do you two have in mind? Just leave two more Hunyuan golden immortals to defend. As a result, our ability to attack the prehistoric world will be greatly weakened. Shen Ni frowned. Haha, don't worry, fellow Taoist. In the prehistoric times, only Sanking has the cultivation level of Hunyuan Golden Immortal. With the remaining Hunyuan Golden Immortal level combat power of our two clans, it is enough to cope with it. As for Hung Jun, of course it is you, the three of me will do it. Daihuang continued, and the demon lord Rahu promised us that he would persuade the three pure ones to deal with Hung Jun together. The words of a demon are not trustworthy, Shen Ni said coldly. It's really not trustworthy, but you have to look forward to it. Shen and I nodded slowly. I heard that the Sand King was still transformed by Pangu and Shen, but compared to the two, it is far behind. Only those of us who possess the essence and blood of Father God can be called the descendants of Pangu. The Sand Kings are just aliens. How can we compare with the two of Miran? Huang said proudly. A cold light flashed in Shen and I's eyes. A descendant of Pangu, but the mortal enemy of his desolate beast clan. If it weren't for the Pangu inheritance and the mystery of the Hongmeng realm, how could he follow the two of them and commit suicide? We should urge Rehu. If we wait any longer, we will only have long nights and dreams, Shen and I said. This time the strange movements of the giant spirit clan somewhat irritated him. The Daihuang clan and the Renhuang clan nodded in agreement. The two of them acted at the same time, and a jade talisman flew out from the magic bag. After the light flickered for a moment, it dispersed with a bang and turned into a water mirror. The figure of Rehu is revealed in the middle. Three fellow Taoists, you are well. Fellow Taoist Luahu, you promised us at the beginning that you would persuade the Sand King to fight against Hung Jun, but why haven't you done anything yet? Daihuang said solemnly. Don't worry, fellow Taoist. The entire prehistoric period is under the surveillance of the old thief Hung Jun. I have to be careful every time I move, otherwise I will be doomed. It will inevitably be too slow. But don't worry, fellow Taoist, I have already contacted Shangqing Tongtian. I just wait. When the three pure beings come together, I can convince you as one. You'd better hurry up. If you wait until we take action, there will be no results. Even though there was an agreement with the Great Law and Order at the beginning, the final Pangu inheritance and the secret of Hongmeng will not be part of you, Shen and I said coldly. Don't worry, I will definitely persuade the Sand King to do anything for at least 100 years. Remember your words. Dai Huangshi put away the jade talisman with a wave of his hand. In the Xixiao Palace in the prehistoric world hundreds of millions of miles away, Luo Hu stared at Hung Jun opposite. Old Hung Jun, you have also seen it? The Daihuang clan, the human Huang clan, and the Sheni are already eyeing us, and they will attack Hong Huang in at least 100 years. You and I should prepare early to avoid being caught off guard by them. Old God Hung Jun was there, and there was no trace of nervousness on his face. The old man has his own opinion. Luo Hu frowned. If you and I are allies, you should tell me if you have any preparations. There is no preparation, only strength. Strength. The Earth Emperor clan, the Human Emperor clan and Shen and I are all the perfect cultivation bases of the Hunyuan Golden Immortal. When it comes to the power of heaven and earth they control, whether it is the desolate God realm or the Taishu human realm, the power of heaven and earth is not inferior to what it is now. The ancient times. What's more, you haven't fully mastered the power of ancient heaven. If you think you can stop Shen and I and the others based on these 2 points, it's better to give up as soon as possible to avoid death. Hung Jun was silent for a while, too lazy to pay attention to him. Okay, let me see how you deal with Shen and I and the Daihuang clan. The angry Luahu walked away and soon left the Xixiao palace. Staring at his leaving back, Hung Jun's deep eyes showed a trace of ridicule. Come on, everyone, let the monsters and demons jump out, so that we can make a pot of delicious food. After leaving Xixiao Palace, Luo Hu did not stay in the primitive world, but went directly to the depths of chaos. He took out a bronze mirror from the magic bag, muttered something in his mouth, pointed his finger in the air, and a little divine light fell into the mirror. Like water droplets in a pond, there are ripples. Soon, a being wearing purple robes, with a head like a yaksha, a threaded horn on top, and green divine light emitting from his eyes appeared. Rehu meets the Supreme Being. A ray of spiritual light flew from Luo Hu's hand into the bronze mirror. Sir, this is what happened during this period of time. The yaksha-like being was silent for a moment. You did a great job. Thank you, Lord, for the compliment. This is what Rahu should do. After nodding slightly. A powerful man who can give birth to so many Hunyuan golden immortals in the Hunyuan world does have a rich background. The existence named Pangu is probably a descendant of a wealthy family in the depths of chaos. However, it is still too much to dream of using the method of opening up to achieve Hongmeng. A little younger. Sir, is there a being in the depths of chaos that is more powerful than the real world of Jambudvipa? Humph, the real world of Jamfu is just a realm of chaos. In a truly powerful world, the Supreme Being can only take it easy after a pause, but you'd better stop being delusional. There is endless chaos between the true world and the real world. With your cultivation, hundreds of yuan we can't even think of crossing it. However, if you serve me honestly, in the future I will go to the prosperous world in chaos, and I will bring you go and open your eyes. Don't worry, your majesty, Luohu will do his best. Just understand. Just watch carefully over there. If there is any trouble, please notify me as soon as possible. As commanded. The light of the bronze mirror gradually dissipated, and Luohu put away the treasure. Ever since Su Junming beheaded his body and taken away the Jianmu sacred tree and the god-killing spear, he knew that he was out of the battle for the prehistoric world and Pangu's inheritance. Although he can join forces with the Renhuang clan, Daihuang clan, and Shen Ni, he is weak and can easily be kicked out. The same is true for Hung Jun. Moreover, they are entangled in cause and effect, so who would really treat him as a devil? In this case, it is better to sell everything to the Lord Night Demon. With the endorsement of this powerful man, one of the three great deities in the Jamfu world, he would definitely be able to sweep through the wilderness and seize the Pangu inheritance. With these achievements, I will definitely be able to please the Supreme Being, and it is impossible to say that I will be able to teach myself the way to advance to Hongmeng. Only in this way can we protect ourselves as much as possible and gain certain benefits at the same time. After experiencing the ancient times and being surrounded and killed, he has become conservative now. Just as he was about to leave and return to the primitive world, his face suddenly changed suddenly, and a powerful magic light appeared with his wave of his hand. The mighty divine light swept across tens of thousands of feet, and wherever it passed, the violent chaos was also destroyed. But the magic light did not encounter any obstacles in the vertical and horizontal directions. Which fellow Taoist is here? Please show up and see him. As the light flickered, a handsome middle-aged man wearing a red robe appeared with a bald head. The perfect magic power of the Hunyuan golden immortal made Luohu extremely vigilant. A hill covered with clouds and mist above the head, and a green gourd hanging from a golden rope around his waist, triggered painful memories in Luohu's heart. Who are you, Your Excellency, and what is your relationship with the true Lord of Chongshan, Su Junming? Looking at the extremely alert Luohu, the visitor smiled calmly. My name is Chen Xianzang, my Taoist name is Taishi Xianyuanzhenjun, and I am the sixth patriarch of Chongshan. The sixth patriarch of Chongshan. Luohu's pupils tightened, and there was a hint of shock in his tone. Of course. Chongshan is really hidden. It seems that you are the real aureole behind the scenes of this ancient world war. The aureole didn't dare to take it, but my Taoist friend was willing to do it and actually introduced a supreme being into the situation. I have to say that this was a clever move. It's not a clever thing to say, it's just a helpless move. If I had the strength of Chongshan Academy, I wouldn't be willing to be a winger. As he spoke, his consciousness swept around, trying to find the power hidden in the dark. Of course, this cannot be hidden from Chen Xianzang. Don't look, I'm the only one here. Luohu, who was already cautious, believed what he said. I wonder why you are looking for me. Quietly mobilize the magic power in the body. Haha, our seventh child has fallen in love with your ninth grade Black Lotus. I have something to ask for from him, so I have to make a trip to get the treasure for him. The reason why Rehu was not moved before was to allow him to draw out the people behind the scenes who were involved in the prehistoric struggle. Now that his mission has been completed, Hong Huang is about to fall into chaos. Naturally, there is no need for him to continue to exist. Before the war, of course, these rats in the gutter must be cleaned up. I heard that Chongshan Academy claimed to be a famous and authentic sect, but I didn't expect that it would do things like taking other people's treasures by force. How is such behavior different from that of a demon? We at Chongshan Academy have always adhered to the principle of treating evil with evil, and using good to help good. To deal with a demon like you, we naturally have to use demonic methods. It's a joke to deal with me. 7 Emotions Demonic Light. The mighty 7-colored divine light surged towards Chen Xianzang overwhelmingly. The latter's heart moved, and a 12-pin red lotus appeared above his head, with billowing red brilliance flashing, and the 7-color divine light was crushed in just a moment. But the trace of Rehu has long since disappeared. Run, how could I let you run away so easily? With the thought in his heart, a 3-foot-sized scarecrow appeared. On the scarecrow was a magic talisman with the 2-character divine symbol Rehu written on it. 7 arrows with nail head. He suddenly shouted in his heart, and a ray of light pierced the scarecrow's eyebrows. Luo who was escaping, felt a sharp pain in his gut. He yelled "Ah!", turned over and fell, falling into a coma. A flash of spiritual light flew over. Chen Xianzang looked at Luo who was being tossed around by the chaotic energy, and patted the gourd on his waist to take him in. Above your head, the small Chongshan cave sky sheds a spiritual light, a space passage emerges, and you step into it. When he reappeared, he was already in the chaotic stone ball. Su Junming opened his eyes. Has anyone been caught? Certainly. With a slap on the gourd, Luo flew out. Except for Tiangong Taoist who was refining the treasure, everyone gathered around. This is Luo, he doesn't look as ugly as I thought. Ren Wuji rubbed his chin and muttered. Thanks to the book Friend Bright, tomorrow for the 100 starting coin reward, thank you very much. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 1168. Su Junming stretched out his hand and took the 9th grade black lotus into his hand. Using the method of returning to the origin through time, it was quickly transformed into the pure lotus origin. As for Luohu's remaining treasures such as the demon tower and the demon sword, he looked down upon them. It is impossible to reward these demonic things directly to the disciples, and they must be dealt with to some extent. The last shining bronze mirror flew into Su Junming's hands. Is this what he used to contact the Night Demon Lord? Chen Xianzang nodded. I saw it with my own eyes. It shouldn't be fake. This lord is also unlucky. If the bronze mirror falls into our hands, its skin will peel off even if it doesn't die, Ren Wuji said with a smile. Smiles appeared on everyone's faces. This bronze mirror contains a trace of the soul of Lord Night Demon. It may not matter to other people, but it is a big taboo for those who major in the path of cause and effect, possess the cursed magical power of the 7 nail-headed arrows, and understand the path of cause and effect into the realm of Hongmeng. With this trace of soul as a basis, even if a superior cannot be killed, he will be severely injured. Don't touch the soul in this bronze mirror yet, lest it detects it in advance. If it cuts off the cause and effect, the 7 arrows book will be useless. The existence of the Hongmeng realm and magical powers are beyond imagination. No amount of caution is too much. In this case, this Rehu cannot be killed, Su De said. Of course not. He will be of great use to us if he is alive, but he still needs to be concocted, Su Junming said with a smile. For him who is proficient in the way of the soul, it is not difficult to concoct Rehu. Shen Ni, De Huang clan and Ren Huang clan are about to take action. I don't know if Lao Chi can refine the spirit treasure before the war breaks out. Su De looked forward to it. Dragon Emperor and others also showed signs of expectation. In this prehistoric battle, there must be powerful people from the Hongmeng realm participating. If there is a Hongmeng spiritual treasure to help, even if they are defeated, they can at least protect themselves with the power of the world in the Hunyuan world of Chongshan. Boom boom. Thunderbolts fell down like angry dragons, and the powerful thunder tribulation filled the area of hundreds of millions of miles. The unparalleled tyranny of heavenly calamity was blocked by 3 rainbow lights, making it difficult to advance even an inch. 1 path, 10 paths, 50 paths, and in the blink of an eye came 81 paths. The rolling purple thunder turned into a lavender phoenix measuring tens of millions of feet in mid-air. The purple phoenix filled with thunder flapped its wings and rushed down suddenly. Boom! Thunder shook the sky, and within tens of millions of miles, there was a blue and white color. Call out! A melodious phoenix cry that shook the earth. 3 three-color rainbow lights, tens of millions of feet long, like the Yangtze River, soared into the sky. For a time, the sky was covered with heavy snow and the wind was blowing. Along with the astonishing celestial phenomenon, the thunder in the sky dissipated instantly. A phoenix with a length of thousands of feet, a white body and green, white, and blue tail feathers appeared in mid-air. The sound of phoenix chirping resounded throughout the sky. The aura of infinite peace permeates the air. The energy of the inner demon was greatly weakened, and with the help of the projection of the Dian divine mirror, the thunder clouds in the mid-air were quickly transformed into infinite spiritual energy of creation. With the blessing of this spiritual energy, the aura on the white phoenix's body increased rapidly, and it instantly entered the realm of Hunyuan. Thousands of miles away, dozens of monks wearing various costumes and with varying auras, but all entering the Great Luo, were watching. I didn't expect that among you and me, the 5th junior sister was the first to overcome the tribulation and achieve Hunyuan Lin Zhengying side. 5th senior sister's qualifications are already extremely high. With the help of the Hongmeng creation spiritual water given by 7th senior uncle, her qualifications are one step closer. She can practice with the body of the innate gods and demons in the beginning, so she can get twice the result with half the effort. Moreover, 5th senior sister is dedicated to cultivation without any distractions. She is the first. It's no surprise to be promoted Miao Chufang side. Everyone nodded. In fact, the second generation disciples have now reached the realm of Deluo Jingxian. Except for the senior brothers Qin Zhong and Sun Shi who have consumed too much spiritual energy in practicing martial arts and fell behind, the gap between them is limited. If people like Xiao Shaoxin, Su Heshu, and others are going through the tribulation now, they can also break through. However, they all felt that their cultivation was not perfect enough and they were not in a hurry to make breakthroughs. Because of this, the disciples were not very jealous of Su Wang's breakthrough. After all, everyone was similar. Shua. A flash of light flashed, and Su Huang, wearing a white phoenix robe, with a luxurious temperament and an unparalleled appearance, appeared in front of everyone. 5th junior sister, congratulations. Congratulations to 5th senior sister for achieving Hunyuan. Congratulations, master, for achieving the Hunyuan wonderful realm. After successfully overcoming the tribulation, Su Huang was also full of joy. Thank you all fellow disciples. After the tribulation, I received a message from my mentor. I will go to Chongshan residence to pay my respects. I will talk to you again after I meet the teacher. Don't delay the teacher's affairs, go quickly, Qin Zhong said. Su Huang raised his hand and pressed the seal, and a space passage appeared in front of him. He stepped forward and arrived in front of Chongshan residence. Looking at the familiar courtyard, he straightened his clothes and stepped in. The black dog Yuming who was guarding the door looked up at her and paid no attention to her. Pass through the courtyard gate, pass through the corridor, and come to the bottom of the steps. Disciple Su Huang asks to see you. Come in. The familiar voice made Su Huang feel slightly excited. It felt like a primary school monk who got first place in the final exam and was eager to report the good news to his parents. Wei took a breath and stepped in. In the hall, teacher Su Junming sat cross-legged on the futon under the word Dao. What he was wearing still looked like an ordinary blue robe. Disciple pays homage to teacher. Just as she was about to fall to her knees, a soft secret force held her up. No need to be polite, just sit down. After responding, Su Huang sat down on the futon next to him. Among the disciples, you are the first to advance to Hunyuan. It can be seen that you work hard every day. Disciple takes credit for not doing anything. If it weren't for the seventh master's uncle who gave me the Hongmeng creation spiritual water to further advance my disciples' qualifications, I wouldn't have been able to break through so quickly. Spiritual objects are only auxiliary, the key is up to you. He waved his hand and interrupted Su Wang's words. Bring your Fi'yun Ge, Babao demon suppressing tower and Shui Yun immortal clothes. Su Huang did as he was told, and the three treasures flew into Su Junming's hands. After a brief look, he activated the Tiangong talisman, and in an instant, infinite chaotic spiritual energy flew towards him. With one restriction after another, the three treasures quickly changed from a large Luo Lingbao to a high-grade Hunyuan Lingbao with 9 Hunyuan restrictions. It's not that you can't practice further, it just takes a certain amount of time. And for Su Huang, who had just advanced to Hunyuan, 3 high-grade Hunyuan spirit treasures were enough. With a finger, the land of dimensions turns into the world of Sumeru. 3 treasures flew into it, and instantly the heavenly calamity rolled and thunder filled the air. In less than a quarter of an hour, the 3 treasures survived the catastrophe and flew into Su Wang's hands. Feeling the essence of the 3 treasures that had been with him for millions of years, Su Wang's face was filled with shock. She never imagined that in just a short moment, the teacher would be able to produce 3 high-grade Hunyuan spiritual treasures. This state completely exceeded the limit of her imagination. Su Junming flicked his finger, and a ray of light penetrated Su Wang's head. The latter instantly felt as if a basin of cold water had been poured over his head, and his mind suddenly became clear. Looking at the deep eyes of his mentor, he quickly said, "Master, when I go back in the future, I must polish my character well." He stood up after smiling and nodding. "You come with me." With a wave of his sleeves, a space channel appeared. Su Huang followed and walked in. When he reappeared, he was already in vast chaos. Although covered by the teacher's magic power, Su Huang still felt the violent energy of chaos. "Look." Subconsciously, he looked in the direction of the teacher's finger. The once violent chaos dissipated instantly, and within a radius of 10,000 feet, it seemed like a clear lake. Suddenly the lake surface fluctuated, and 24 giant flags holding up the sky appeared. Su Huang had never seen such a powerful formation. Just by looking at it, he could feel the majesty and vastness of the formation. Suddenly, she felt as if her soul was flying, and with a ding-dong sound, she fell into the lake. Then, under the inexplicable force trend, it penetrated the formation. A vast, but much calmer chaos appeared in front of us. Not long after, a little emerald green starlight appeared in front of my eyes. Driven by curiosity, he flew over. Gradually, the starlight became bigger and bigger, and soon turned into an emerald green spiritual root that was 100,000 feet high. Because of Su Junming's relationship, there were many books on spiritual root elixirs in Chongshan Academy. Su Huang himself had cultivated many spiritual root elixirs, so he recognized them quickly. This spiritual root that looks like a poplar tree is an acquired spiritual root of the highest quality. On the huge main branch of this spiritual root, there is a palace. On the stone steps in front of the palace, there is a boy guarding the door, and in the side hall not far away, there are disciples practicing. On the stone tablet in front of the main hall, the 3 words Qingyuan Hall shine brightly. By activating the Dian Divine Mirror, you can see that in the Qingyuan Hall, A young monk wearing a blue robe and who has cultivated to the Daluotiansien realm is meditating and practicing qi. The breath above his head rolled, transforming into a blue pheasant. Obviously this is a demon cultivator, but the magic power in its body is the true inheritance of Chongshan. There were many demon cultivators in Chongshan Academy. Although she was from the Phoenix clan, she was technically one of the demon cultivators, so she didn't feel much of it. After leaving this spiritual route, a larger starlight in the distance attracted her attention. With a thought in his heart, he crossed the infinite distance and arrived at the periphery of the starlight. This is a green bamboo with a height of tens of millions of feet. The rolling Hunyuan spiritual energy is absorbed and refined by the green bamboo, part of it is absorbed by the green bamboo, and part of it is transformed into innate spiritual energy. Feeling its aura, this is an acquired spiritual root. Below the green bamboo in the sky is a cave world of millions of acres. The innate spiritual energy in the cave is extremely strong, and it is no worse than her little Chongshan cave. The cave is full of kawaii grass, green peaks, flowing springs, and beautiful scenery. There are rare birds and animals everywhere in the mountain springs and valleys. Anyone who takes a look at it will be amazed that it is a blessed land for cultivation and a paradise for immortals. In this cave, there are naturally monks stationed there. Moreover, he is also an existence who has reached the level of Hunyuan true immortal. However, this is not a demon cultivator, but a genuine human cultivator, and he also practices the Chongshan Yuanyang scripture passed down from Chongshan, become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes author, Dong Ren. Chapter 1169. Although the Chongshan Yuanyang scripture is the direct descendant of Chongshan, it is not only the direct disciple of Chongshan who can practice it, but all the disciples of Chongshan can practice it. What distinguishes Kongshan's direct descendants, the inner sect and the outer sect, is the inheritance of Genman's important treasures. Like the projection of the Dian divine mirror, only direct disciples can have it. Storage gourds are only available to direct descendants and inner disciples. All disciples have green bamboo staffs. This Hunyuan true immortal has the projection of the Dian divine mirror, a storage gourd and a green bamboo staff. He is obviously a direct disciple of Chongshan. But Su Huang has never seen it. Could he be a disciple of an elder in the master's sect? With doubts, continue reading. But the shock in my heart became more and more intense. In this vast chaos, Daluotiansien and Daluojingxian are countless. There are also thousands of existences in the Hunyuan realm. She even saw a being with an extremely vast aura and an unimaginable level of magical power under a peach tree that was tens of millions of feet high. He is also a direct descendant of Chongshan, but she has never seen him either. Suddenly, under a majestic force, her mind suddenly lifted. The whole chaos emerged before our eyes. Millions of stars twinkle in it. There are actually more than a dozen powerful existences similar to that peach tree. There are tens of thousands of people who belong to the Hunyuan realm. This amazing power has completely exceeded Su Wang's imagination. Just when she was inexplicably shocked, the soft but majestic power took her through the vast and peaceful chaos and came to a huge blue ball of light. This familiar scent made her understand. This is a huge world. Its aura was tens of thousands of times more vast than the earthly immortal realm she had ever seen. The soul suddenly fell, passing through the crystal wall and the boundless starry sky, and found a vast world wrapped in the ocean. Overall, 6% are oceans and 4% are land. Excluding islands of varying sizes, there are 5 giant continents. The middle continent is the largest and occupies half of the entire land area. The 4 continents of East, West, South and North are about the same size and account for the remaining half. A familiar aura appeared in Su Wang's heart. That continent in the East is not the earthly immortal realm that I am familiar with, no, it should be the Shadow Realm continent that is rumored to be thousands of times the size of the earthly immortal realm. But she never thought that there were 3 other land masses the size of the Shadow continent, and there was also an even bigger central continent. Suddenly, a strong pull came. The soul instantly returned to the physical body. Looking at the huge water mirror in front of him and the vast world in the mirror, Su Huang was shocked beyond words. What she had just seen had exceeded the limit of her imagination. Su Junming did not use the Dian Divine Mirror or the Divine Soul Secret technique to force Su Huang to calm down. Giving her enough time to recover slowly is also an exercise for her mind. About a quarter of an hour later, Su Huang took a deep breath. "Teacher, what was that?" My voice was hoarse and trembling, and it was obvious that I still couldn't calm down completely. "Yes. This is our Chongshan world, a Hunyuan world that is tens of thousands of times larger than the earthly immortal world. Now, your 7 master uncles and I have all become Hunyuan golden immortals. In my Chongshan sect, including your master Nuwa, there are already 9 Hunyuan golden immortals among my disciples. Among the second generation disciples, there are already 12 Hunyuan golden immortals." With a flick of the finger, the scenery in the water mirror changes. 12 figures with different appearances and powerful auras emerged. After the aura flickered for a moment, the auras of the 12 people became more agile. "Teacher. Uncle. Daddy." After smiling and nodding. "This is a disciple that I accepted in my early years. I started before you. His name is Su Huang and his Taoist name is Ice Phoenix Fairy. Meet senior sister." Everyone bowed their hands. Su Huang, who had always been cold and noble, became at a loss when he saw beings with strong auras and cultivation levels far above him saluting respectfully. Seeing this, Su Junming spoke to ease her embarrassment. "I'll introduce you. The leader's name is Yang Mei and his Taoist nickname is Ruyi Dot. The title of Great Immortal Yang Mei has been abandoned since Yang Mei was reborn." Yang Mei cupped her hands as a gift. Su Huang quickly returned the gift. "The second one is named Zhang Shinian, and his Taoist name is Qingdi. The third one is called Feng Zanjian, and his Taoist name is Yun Zongxian. The fourth one, his name is Qiyu, his Taoist name is Julai, he is the eldest disciple of your 7th master uncle. The fifth one has the same name and Taoist number. You must know him too. Su Huang is so familiar. Isn't this Zhen Yuanzi?" But she never expected that she and Zhen Yuanzi would actually become the same sect. The magic of fate is simply unbelievable. The sixth one, his name is Pan Ling and his Taoist name is Qing Lian. He is the only disciple of your 8th master uncle. The 7th one is named Shuezang Yang and his Taoist name is Xiang. The 8th one has the same name and Taoist title, both are Hongyuan. He is the 2nd disciple of your 7th master uncle. 9th and 10th. Before Su Junming could finish speaking. "My name is Su Bui, his name is Su Bui, I am the younger sister, he is the elder brother, my father is Su Junming, my mother's name is Nuwa, my father and mother have not given us Taoist names yet." After saying that, she blinked coquettishly, then pulled up her skirt as a gift and said, "I've met senior sister Su." Su Huang hurriedly returned the gift. Looking at the little girl, Su Junming smiled and shook his head. "This girl has been spoiled by me and her mother. Dad framed a good man, and he was right just now." Su Buwu saluted respectfully and said hello. "One is mature and steady, the other is lively and cheerful. The master's 2 children have completely different personalities." Su Junming pointed to a tall, serious middle-aged Taoist priest wearing a green robe and a golden crown. "The 11th one, his name is Yoshio Yangfeng and his Taoist name is Qingming. Yoshio Yangfeng was the first person to be promoted to the Deluo Golden Immortal Realm after the first generation of 7 deacons in Chongshan, and he has been guarding the 10,000 Poison Swamp Dojo. Later, he became the 3rd Chongshan disciple to advance to the Hunyuan realm after Feng Zanjian and Shuezang Yang. Moreover, he was able to advance to the level of Hunyuan Golden Immortal before Shuezang Yang could. His qualifications, understanding, and perseverance are no worse than those of Yang Mei and others. Moreover, unlike Yang Mei, Hong Yuan, Zhang Shinian, and others, Yoshio Yangfeng still made rapid progress with the blessing of Su Hui, which is even more commendable. Therefore, after the Hongmeng creation spiritual water appeared, Su Junming first used this treasure to upgrade his qualifications to the body of the innate spirit in the beginning. Not surprisingly, Yang Mei, Zhen Yuanzi, Qingli and Daijun and him are the most promising to advance to the Hongmeng wonderland before the other disciples. Qingming has met senior sister. Junior brother, you are polite. The last one is the Suanu of the Nine Heavens, the eldest disciple of your master Nuwa. Su Huang is also known as the Nine Heavens Profound Girl, a famous female fairy in ancient times. He never thought that he would become his classmate. Xian Nu pays homage to senior sister Bing Huang. While Su Huang was still dazed, Jushin Suanv had already gathered her skirts and bowed down. She was able to break through the Hunyuan Golden Immortal so quickly. In addition to the teachings of her teacher Nuwa, she also had the Hongmeng creation spiritual water and the Dian divine mirror projection given by her master Su Junming. If it weren't for the rapid improvement of her qualifications and the substantial improvement of her understanding, she would never have been able to advance to Hunyuan Golden Immortal after 6 or 7 Yuan Hui. Junior sister, you are polite. Okay, everyone, go back. I still have something to say with your senior sister. After all the disciples bowed and saluted, they dispersed. In addition to the 12 you saw, there are 9 other disciples who are now Hunyuan Xianxian. After Su Junming repaired the Buzhu mountain area, he had 300 named disciples who stayed with him to teach. After slaying demons and killing most of their bodies during the tribulation, only 12 people could truly break through to the Hunyuan realm. Later, when Chongshan disciples survived the catastrophe and advanced to Hunyuan, Su Junming stopped accepting disciples and returned to teach under the tutelage of Yang Mei, Zhen Yuanzi, and others. Therefore, count these 21, as well as the 18 that were accepted before coming to the great desolate world. There are 39 second-generation disciples of Chongshan. If you include the other 2 direct descendants of Nuwa's family, Jinfeng and Lingzuzi, there are 41. Call out the remaining disciples and let Su Huang know them one by one. Seeing the confused look on her face, Su Junming didn't say much. With a flick of his finger, a bit of spiritual light disappeared into Su Huang's sea of consciousness. The light spreads and a large picture emerges. It is most of what Su Junming experienced after coming to the prehistoric times, as well as some secrets about time and space. Fortunately, Su Huang has advanced to the Hunyuan realm, otherwise digesting these memories would be a big project. Even so, it took her 3 years to really digest it. Look at the disciple who opened his eyes. Do you understand? He nodded heavily, his tone full of sighs. Only now do disciples realize how vast the chaos is and how far-reaching the avenue is. In the past, everything was just a frog in a well. Su Junming smiled faintly and waved his hand, and a yellow-skinned gourd flew towards Su Huang. After the latter caught it, there are 360 Hunyuanren yellow pills in this to help you practice. When you use them up, come back to me to collect them. Su Huang nodded and put away the elixir. As a senior sister herself, her cultivation level has only just broken through to the level of Hunyuan Celestial Immortal. However, the worst of those junior brothers and sisters are already Hunyuan Xianxian, and the strongest ones have even reached the level of Hunyuan Golden Immortal, peaking into the higher levels of Hongmengji territory. The huge gap filled her with a sense of urgency. The pride and complacency of being the first among many fellow sects to break through Hunyuan was shattered in an instant. Su Junming waved his hand again, and a pale silver sycamore tree flew out from his palm. This is a top-quality spiritual root Ice Flame Wutong that he cultivated. This spiritual root and you will lead your disciples to practice in the Sea of Chaos in the future. Disciple, obey. By the way, give me your Xiao Chongshan cave heaven. Su Wang's heart moved, and a small mountain covered with clouds and fog flew into Su Junming's hands. The latter activated the time talisman, and the flow of time around him slowed down instantly. The restrictions in Xiao Chongshan cave heaven were rapidly developed, layer by layer, and it took Su Junming 300 years to refine it into the ultimate Hunyuan spiritual treasure. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest for us. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 1170. Stop the time talisman, and the flow of time around you returns to normal. The time in the outside world is only 3 months. Of course, he did not slow down the flow of time to the extreme. Otherwise, with his current time realm, he could do it in 1 day outside and 10,000 years inside. But this consumes too much mana and is unnecessary. What he was refining was the ultimate Hunyuan spiritual treasure, which might have taken a lot of time in the past. Now that Tiangong Dao has broken through to the Hongmeng realm, although he can't say that it can be accomplished instantly, it doesn't take too long. Okay, take it. After taking over Xiao Chongshan cave heaven, the internal size has not changed, but the spiritual energy has increased tens of thousands of times, and all of it has been replaced by the innate spiritual energy of Taoishu. More importantly, its power was so powerful that even Su Huang himself was shocked. Although I have seen the memory picture given by the master, the feeling of the real unnecessary Lingbao is completely different from the memory. This treasure has the wonderful effect of slowing down the flow of time. It should be able to help you practice better. Thank you, teacher. Su Huang subconsciously clenched the Xiao Chongshan cave heaven in his hand, with a firm look in his eyes. With this precious assistant, she is confident that she can catch up with the junior brothers who are walking ahead. An ascetic cultivator is not on the right path. There are sermons in the sea of chaos, discussions among fellow disciples, and battles with each other. There are countless classics in the library hall. You can also learn a few things while practicing. Yes. Okay, that's all I have to say, you go back and digest it. But remember, what you saw and heard before, don't tell your senior brothers and sisters. Their cultivation has not broken through the Hunyuan realm, and knowing it too early is harmful and useless. Disciple, obey. Su Junming overhauled his hand and a space passage emerged. After Su Huang bowed, he turned into light and flew in. The passage disappeared, and the figures of Dragon Emperor, Renwuji, and others emerged. Looking at the looks of Yang Mei, Zhen Yuanzi, and others just now, they didn't feel strange about the sudden addition of a senior sister whose cultivation level was far inferior to mine, Renwuji said. Maybe he held back and didn't expose himself, Suda said. Everyone looked at Su Junming subconsciously. His soul Dao was the most magical. Any fluctuations in the soul could not escape the induction. In particular, after the soul path entered the realm of Hongmeng, the reactions of the souls of the Hunyuan monks were as transparent to Su Junming. Su Junming shook his head, their souls did not fluctuate much. This saves us the headache of sorting them out, Chen Xianzang said with a smile. Everyone nodded. Originally, they were thinking that if Yang Mei, Zhen Yuanzi, Hong Yun, Qing Lian, and others were dissatisfied with the sudden appearance and inferior cultivation to their senior brothers and sisters, they would reorder them in the order of breaking through the Hongmeng realm. Now it seems that it is no longer needed. Although we are left with a lot of trouble, we cannot relax in the training of the earlier disciples, otherwise the gap will be too great and will eventually create a barrier, the Dragon Emperor said. Everyone nodded. The disciples' matters will end here for now. What's going on in Honghuang? Are Sanking ready to take action? Not yet, but soon. Yugzi Palace in Kunlun Mountain. Tais Hang, Yuanji, and Tong Tian were sitting cross-legged in the center, surrounded by clouds and fairy light, but the atmosphere in the hall was a bit solemn. Two worthy brothers, the time is coming. Let's wait and see what the future holds. Let's give it a try, I said in a deep voice. Brother, we have been preparing for such a long time. It's time to give it a try. I don't believe that the old thief Hung Jun can break the Xuxian sword formation. And even if the Xuxian formation can't kill him, we still have the three talents gods and demons formation and one immortal formation. What the third brother said is true, and without the constraints of Yinzunti, we have a greater chance of winning Yuan, she said. Third brother, please send Duobeo to Japaguan to set up the immortal killing sword formation. My second brother and I will go to Xixiao Palace to see Hung Jun, Tai Shang said. After Tong Tian nodded, he dispersed his clones and returned to Bio Palace. Order the boy to ring the golden bell. Not long after, Taoist Duobeo, Holy Mother Jinling and other disciples came in. Disciple meets teacher. No need to be polite, just get up. Taoist Duobeo fell to his knees with a puff of anger. Teacher, that Guangchenzi bullied me too much. He scolded my religion as a heretic and a sectarian. No matter whether we are hairy or horned, or wet, we can all live together in the same group. It is really hateful to regard us as nothing and call Yugzadeo Dharma the supreme alone. In order to confuse Hung Jun as much as possible, everything before Guangchenzi visited Bio Palace 3 times happened as scheduled. Among the 3 Xiaos, except for Yung Xiao who was crushed under the Kailan cliff, basically all of them were on the list of gods. Zhao Gongming was killed by Lu Ya with a 7-arrow nail-head curse. The Lord of 10 Heavens died, and the Holy Mother of Fire Spirit died. The only exception is probably Kong Xian, who was captured by the Tai Chi diagram and sealed in the Xian Huang exquisite tower of heaven and earth. The leader of Tongtian cult looked calm. He didn't care about the death or injury of his disciples. If he killed Hung Jun in the future, he would naturally be able to save them all. If Hung Jun cannot be killed, everything will be meaningless. But before the last moment comes, everything still needs to go on. I think Guangchenzi is also a true gentleman. Don't get me wrong. Taoist Duobeo said quickly, how dare I deceive my teacher? The 7 immortals accompanying him also echoed, teacher, everything the senior brother said is true. Leader Tongtian nodded and smiled, compared with Feather, who is his master? If I become Feather, wouldn't his master also become Feather or something like that? Turned. Golden Spirit. The Holy Mother of the Golden Spirit, who had been silent until now, bowed and saluted. Teacher, please give me your instructions. Go to the treasure pavilion at the back and get the 4 swords. Our Lady of the Golden Spirit bowed down and moved to the back of the main hall. The place is empty, except for an altar in the middle, with a yellow leather bag on it and 4 swords hidden inside. Except for this treasure, all others are invisible. Knowing that this was what the teacher wanted, he stepped forward to lift it up, turned back to the front hall, defended himself in front of the teacher's throne, and then turned around and returned to the train. Duobeo. Teacher. Taoist Duobeo took a step forward. Since he laughs at me for teaching him, you can go to Japaguan with these 4 swords to set up an immortal killing formation and see which disciple of the Chan sect dares to enter my formation. If anything happens, I will come and talk to him. He saw the sword array when he took it out, but it was ordinary and there was no mystery at all. I couldn't help but ask. Teacher, what is the magic use of this sword? There are 4 swords in this sword, one is called Xuxian sword, the second is called Slaying Immortal Sword, the third is called Entrapping Immortal Sword, and the fourth is called Extreme Immortal Sword. This sword hangs upside down on the door, it makes thunderous vibrations, and the sword light shines. Since he is a god of all calamities, he cannot escape this difficulty. Taoist Duobeo was overjoyed. With this sword here, he will be able to explain my teachings and know how powerful I am. Tongtian smiled slightly, flicked his sleeves, and the sword array flew into Duobeo's hands. Go ahead. Respect the law. Taoist Duo Bao took the Zuxian sword formation with him, and after leaving Bio Palace, he flew straight towards Donghuang Jipaiguan. Turtle Spirit. The disciple is here. The Holy Mother Turtle Spirit stepped forward. Ring the golden bell and summon all the disciples of Jijiao to my Jinao island. Yes. Dong dong dong, the loud bell resounded throughout the East China Sea, and all the Jijiao disciples, whether they were intersex or registered, all heard it. Even those in retreat were awakened. Everyone put down their work and flew towards Jinao island. When the Tongtian leader summoned his disciples, Tais Hang and Yuanqi also came outside Zixiao Palace. Staring at the extremely familiar palace, the two of them looked at each other and flew outside the palace gate. Teacher, please come again. Disciple Tais Hang, Yuanqi asks for an audience. Come in. Along with the old voice, the palace door opened. The two stepped inside. Among the three pure ones, the Supreme Being was calm and the Yuanqi city was extremely deep, so when facing Hung Jun's deep gaze, the two of them did not show any strange expression on their faces. If you two don't preside over the important matter of conferring gods in the ancient world, why do you come to my Zixiao palace? Reporting back to the teacher, Tongtian has now set up a sword formation to kill the immortals outside Japai Pass. This formation is so ferocious that only the four saints cannot break it. The two junior brothers Jianzunti are not here, and the junior sister Nuwo has not been in the wilderness. It is really difficult for us to be alone. To break this formation, I came here to ask for help from the teacher, the Supreme Master said respectfully. Hung Jun did not answer. The silence made the atmosphere in the hall become depressing. Tais Hang and Yuanqi are saints after all. Even without the blessing of heavenly power, they are Hunyuan golden immortals with strong minds and no flaws. After a long time. Recently, Luo Hu has made a comeback, and Su Junming has also appeared again and again. Have you two come into contact with them? Luo Hu has never seen it. Su Junming paid a visit to the old Taoist and wanted to take away the great red sky beyond the wilderness, but the old Taoist refused. Tai Shang said. He had never seen Luo Hu before, and Su Junming had never seen him either. But if they all say that, it will undoubtedly leave loopholes. After all, Su Junming has too much contact with Hong Huang. Moreover, half-truths and half-falsehoods are often easier to believe than complete truths and complete lies. After all, people with rich emotions and six desires are suspicious beings. Especially at a critical moment like the conferred God. After the Supreme Master finished speaking, there was another oppressive silence. Okay, you go back first. Disciple resigns. Tais Hang left with Yuanqi. Hung Jun looked at the two people leaving, his eyes flickering, and no one knew what he was thinking. After leaving Zixiao Palace, Yuanqi sent a message, brother, old thief Hung Jun won't notice anything, right? Probably not, otherwise he wouldn't have let us leave Zixiao Palace just now, the Supreme Master said after pondering for a moment. The reason why they want to lure Hung Jun to Jipaiguan instead of directly surrounding Zixiao Palace with the Zuxian sword formation is because they know how much blessing the dojo can have on monks. Layers of formations and countless restrictions. The offense may not be very good, but the defense is absolutely powerful. Therefore, if possible, Hung Jun must be deceived out of Zixiao Palace. Then why didn't he agree just now? But he didn't refuse. After a pause, let's go and wait outside Jipaiguan to see if Hung Jun comes in the end. If he doesn't come, we have no choice but to go to Zixiao again. Yuanqi nodded. Thanks to the book friends for waiting for the 500 starting coin reward, thank you very much. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 1171. Outside Japai Pass, monks such as Ran Deng, Lu Ya, 12 golden immortals, Zhang Shang and others were sitting cross-legged under the reed canopy. The black army of Jizhou in the distance stretched like a sea wave to the end of the sky and the earth. Not far away, there is the Japai Pass, which is thousands of feet high and covers millions of miles, firmly guarding the main road to Kaohsiung. If it were just a mail pass, it would naturally not be able to stop Jizhou's army, but it enveloped the entire mail pass, connected to the ground below, and to the sky above. Although it was not clear whether it was true or not, the ferocious aura revealed when the formation was first deployed was really strong. Everyone jumped. Too fierce, too cruel. As soon as the murderous aura rushed out, I felt like my head was about to fall off. Therefore, whether it was Randeng, Lu Ya, or the 12 Golden Immortals, they all stayed outside the formation honestly. After looking at the two saints who were sitting cross-legged in mid-air, meditating with their eyes closed, Randeng sent a message and said, "Senior nephew Guangcheng, does the leader have any explanation?" "Never. Master Randeng doesn't know the reason either." "I don't know," he sighed. "How long do we have to wait? I really hope this killing ends soon." Although Randeng's cultivation was extremely high, too many monks had been devoured by the killings. If he hadn't had some tricks up his sleeve, he would have almost fallen to Zhao Gongming's Dingai Divine Pearl. And Kongxian, who was guarding Jinji Ridge, was even more ferocious. The five-color divine light brushes against everything. If it weren't for the infinite power of Taishang's Taiki diagram, he would have died under the five-color divine light. Now there is such a more fierce formation. It was literally killing me. Alas, if I had known this, I wouldn't have been so shameless as to join the Chan cult. But when I think of Zunti and Yin, I feel a little lucky. If he had joined the Western sect, he would have been shocked and killed by Su Junming long ago. Practice is so difficult. Just when Randeng was sighing, the sky suddenly filled with purple energy. An extremely powerful pressure descended from the sky. Except for the two saints, all the disciples of Ji Chan fell down under this pressure. This kind of existence that seemed like the might of heaven shocked everyone. The Supreme Being and Yuan Shi stood up and saluted. "Welcome to you, Teacher Dharma." Hung Jun floated up accompanied by the purple air in the sky. After nodding slightly towards the Supreme Being and Yuan Shi, they stared at the immortal killing sword formation. "Tong Tien, you haven't come out to answer yet." Wearing a green Taoist robe, with flying black hair and a sharp aura, the leader of the Tong Tien cult flew out from the formation. "Teacher is not in Zixiao Palace to receive blessings, why come to this boundary pavilion?" "Your Majesty, Yuan Shi said that you were doing evil by helping Zhou. You didn't know the timing, so you specially asked me to help you and break your immortal killing sword formation." "Haha, what a joke. If I remember correctly, when I was in Zixiao Palace, teacher, you personally issued the list of gods, and asked me to intercept the disciples of the three sects and complete the killings and list to become gods. All this time, I have been following the list." Not only did the teacher not praise me for what he said and did, but he was also beguiled by those two cold-blooded people to break my formation. Hung Jun looked calm. "I will say whatever I say about the matter of conferring gods, but the killing immortal sword formation is too killing. Do you want to destroy the great desolation?" "Ha." The leader of Tongtian cult burst out laughing wildly. "If my sect is destroyed, what use will this ancient world have? It is better to destroy it. Once and for all, we will all go to hell together. What a sin, I don't know whether to live or die." Hung Jun was furious. "Come and break my formation if you can." After that, the figure disappeared into the formation. Tai Shang, Yuan Shi. "Teacher. You two go to the flag gate of Shenxian and Zhuexian respectively. I'll get the immortal killing sword." "The immortal killing sword. Don't worry, someone will take care of it." Tai's Hang Yuanxi looked at each other, each a little surprised. It didn't take long before a ray of light flew over, as fast as a meteor falling, reaching the extreme speed. When they got closer, the light dissipated, revealing a middle-aged man wearing linen clothes, a hemp rope tied around his waist, long hair shawl, and an elegant temperament. Fuxi. Tai Hang and Yuanqi were secretly shocked. They never expected that Fuxi, who had always stayed out of the matter, would come. Teacher. Fuxi bowed and saluted Hung Jun. At that time, he was also a guest of 3000 in Zixiao Palace, and he should treat Hung Jun as his disciple. Tongtian is rebellious and deceives his master to destroy his ancestors. Today, you and I, master and disciple, must work together to capture Tongtian's rebellious disciple. Respect the law. Fuxi responded, Teacher, the power of the saints' fighting skills is earth-shaking. There are so many mortals here. If it affects the world, I'm afraid it will harm Tianhe. Why don't you let me take it away first, and then release you after Tongtian is captured? He frowned, but didn't refuse. Fuxi waved his big sleeves, and his sleeves and robes instantly expanded, covering billions of miles of sky in an instant, and almost half of the eastern wasteland was included in it. The power of rolling, swallowing and sucking spreads out. Hundreds of millions of people are included in it. After Fuxi stopped, most of the population of Yinshang and Jizhou disappeared. Around the Zuxian sword formation, apart from the disciples of the three religions, there was no human race to be seen. Fellow Taoist Fuxi, you are such an amazing master, the Supreme Master praised. A few small skills are nothing compared to the supernatural powers of fellow Taoists. Turning his head, Teacher, let's enter the formation. Hung Jun nodded. He urged his magic power to fly to the Zuxian flag gate. Tai Hang flew to the falling immortal flag gate, Yuanqi flew to the Juexian flag gate, and Fuxi flew to the killing immortal flag gate. What you see when you enter the formation is a chaotic atmosphere that is billowing from the day after tomorrow, and it is misty, and you can't see the sky. In the endless chaos, a magnificent town gate with a height of hundreds of thousands of feet stands proudly. Hanging above this giant door is a giant sword with flashing light and a murderous aura that spreads to the sky and the earth. As soon as Tai Hang and Yuanqi entered the formation gate, they suddenly felt a jade talisman connected to the soul in the magic bag vibrating. Of course, Tongtian was also shocked. Three fellow Taoists, I'm here to help you and kill the old traitor Hung Jun. It's Fuxi, no, it's Su Junming. The three of them understood instantly. This jade talisman was given by Su Junming. The two parties had used this to communicate many times and were very familiar with each other. The Supreme Being and Yuanqi couldn't help but be secretly shocked. They were face to face with Fuxi just now, but they didn't realize at all that he was transformed by Su Junming. Sanking breathed a sigh of relief when his opponent became a strong supporter, and he also became excited. With the addition of Su Junming, we have greater confidence. Of course, they also remain vigilant. Although the other party seems to be at odds with Hung Jun, he is not as close as his three brothers. Inside the Zuxian flag gate, Hung Jun did not go in. With a wave of his right hand, a spiritual light flew up and turned into a green lotus, holding the Zuxian sword. When Luo, who presided over the sword formation, he had already seen his power. Later he obtained this treasure and spent many years studying and practicing it. In terms of understanding of the Zuxian sword formation, he was not at all inferior to Tongtian. The reason why the Zuxian sword formation is powerful is not because of its mystery, but because the tools used to refine the formation and the four swords are so powerful. The four swords of Zuxian, Trap Immortal, Killing Immortal, and Absolute Immortal were forged by Luo, who using a piece of Hongmeng fine iron to collect the evil energy from the sky. They are extremely strong and extremely fierce at the same time. The killing ability is no worse than the low-grade Hongmeng Lingbao. The immortal killing sword formation diagram was made by Rahu, who collected the spiritual energy of the western wasteland's earth veins and sacrificed blood to hundreds of millions of living beings in the western wasteland, using the essence, blood, and souls of the living beings. Later, it swallowed the essence and blood of countless creatures after the ancient war between all races, and its power became even more powerful. A diagram of the Xuxian sword formation condenses a quarter of the essence of the ancient times. This is the most important treasure that Luohu worked hard and spent dozens of yuanhui to cultivate. It is the foundation of his dominance in the ancient world. Therefore, the killing power of the immortal killing sword formation is extremely strong. Once a saint sets up a large formation, it will become a truly indestructible killing weapon that cannot be broken except by the four saints. Why don't you get your sword quickly? After holding the Xuxian sword, Hung Jun sent a message. Old thief Hung Jun, suffer death. Tong Tian shouted loudly, and the vast chaotic energy surged forward like a river bursting its embankment. The Xuxian sword above shot out a sword light of 10,000 feet. The extremely ferocious Hushan chaos sword energy looked like a blood-red divine light and shot toward Hung Jun. Electricity shot out. Seeing everything in his eyes, he couldn't help but sneer. What a thief, you have finally revealed your wolfish ambitions. With a thought in his heart, a huge bronze tripod appeared, and the mighty spiritual light spread out like a waterfall, blocking the sword light and chaotic energy, and the whole person retreated backwards with lightning. The speed is so fast, it's almost like teleporting. He is not stupid. If he really falls into a big formation, he will definitely die. Sudden. Boom. An obscure bell chime rolled in. It was not earth-shattering, but it was like thunder in Hung Jun's ears. Su Junming used the soul talisman that advanced to the Hongmeng realm to activate the magical power of the soul-falling bell. Hung Jun's soul was instantly shaken. The space shattered, and a giant palm with thick bones, covered with blue scales, and 7 fingers stretched out. The giant palm that revealed an astonishing aura grabbed the Kinkan cauldron and retracted it instantly. At the same time, chaotic energy surged, shrouding Hung Jun in the middle. The layers of restrictions turned into bands, and the Kinkan cauldron, which was still struggling, suddenly stopped moving. The moment Hung Jun woke up, his face instantly darkened as he looked at the hazy energy of chaos around him. This familiar scene made him understand his situation instantly. Sanking, Su Junming, you deserve to die. Seeing Hung Jun in front of him being enveloped by the Xuxian sword formation, Tais Hang, Yuanqi, and Tong Tian all breathed a sigh of relief. Looking at Su Junming in the distance, Sanking looked solemn. They had seen clearly just now that if it hadn't been for the strange sound of the bell, Hung Jun would have been almost unstoppable by the immortal killing sword formation. Although they can still rely on the 3 talented gods and demons to summon Pangu's true body to fight against Hung Jun, if this is the case, the whole world will definitely be shattered. Even if you win, you won't get much benefit in the end. And that giant palm, with its powerful aura, is still on top of the Xuxian sword formation, Tai Chi diagram and Pangu flag. They had never heard of such a valuable treasure in the wild. Su Junming possesses these 2 methods, coupled with the powerful spatial magical power, which is really worrying. Hung Jun has fallen into the Xuxian sword formation, and the remaining matters will be left to the 3 Taoist friends. Thank you fellow Taoist for your help. When the success is achieved in the future, we will go to Chongshan Hunyuan world to express our gratitude in person. It's easy to say, easy to say. But the 3 Taoist friends will dominate the ancient world in the future. I don't think the 3 clear heavens in the chaos will be used. It's better to hand them over to the poor Taoist, which can be regarded as understanding the cause and effect between you and me. Thanks to book friend Heiza for the 100 starting coin reward. Thank you very much. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes author, Dong Ren. Chapter 1172. As fellow Taoist said, the 3 pure heavens belong to fellow Taoist Tai Shang said. As Su Junming said, after mastering the more powerful prehistoric world, Sankingtian became a tasteless thing that was worthless to throw away. Give it to Su Junming to understand the cause and effect between the 2 parties. This makes both sides look better. Smile with satisfaction. Thank you, 3 Taoists. Then I will wait for the good news from the 3 Taoists in Chongshan. He cupped his hands and said, goodbye. Goodbye, go away. Watching Su Junming go away, Sanking secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Although Su Junming is in the same camp as his 3 brothers, they are not real brothers after all, and their methods are very powerful, which is particularly scary. If there was such a person beside them during the next fight against Hung Jun, they would not dare to try their best no matter what. Otherwise, wouldn't it be bad luck to be struck by that bell? As the saying goes, being on guard against others is indispensable. Sanking is not stupid. Now that the person is gone, they are half relieved. The remaining half must be guarded against Su Junming's use of space magic to go and return, hide aside, and do things in secret. It's a pity that the Qinkanding was taken away by him, Yuan Shi thought to himself. The Qinkanding is an existence second only to the 3 treasures of Kaishan. It is powerful and is a treasure of creation. It has great power that can return to the acquired and the innate. Yuan Shi has always been very coveted. Fortunately, without the Qinkan cauldron, Hung Jun still had the chaos clock and the jade slips of creation, and he was greedy for each of them. Especially the jade slips of creation, which are rumored to record the methods of attaining enlightenment through 3,000 avenues and 800 side doors. Although Yuanqi sneered at this, it was indeed a valuable treasure. When Sanking surrounded and killed Hung Jun, Su Junming activated the space method and took away the entire prehistoric human race. There is a high probability that a battle involving the entire prehistoric world will break out, and there will also be several highly powerful careerists. With the intensity of the ancient prehistoric times, in such an intense battle, the outcome will be destruction. Billions of human races are the result of the accumulation of more than a dozen Yuanhui, among which there are countless elites. They cannot just give up. As for the remaining Dragon Clan, Phoenix Clan, Demon Clan, and various tribes hiding in corners, just wish yourself good luck. Returning to Huoyun Cave, Fuxi, Sheneng, Xianyuan, and many elites from the medieval human race gathered around them. Everyone, it's time for us to go. Everyone looked at Su Junming with somewhat complicated expressions. When the other party left just now, the entire fire cloud cave was sealed. They could only watch Su Junming transform into Fuxi, cooperate with the Sanking to plot against Hung Jun, and take away the entire human race in the ancient world. Without the human race, they, the ancestors of the human race, would have no meaning to stay. Fuxi sighed. Although he was angry with him for using his identity to scheme against Hung Jun, he was still his brother-in-law. Junming, does it have to be like this? I am also doing it for the future of the human race. Our human race is already the protagonist of prehistoric times, and this is the best future, Ji Xianyuan said solemnly. He now knew that Qiyu was a disciple of Chongshan. So naturally I don't have a good impression of Su Junming, the founder of Chongshan. The frog in the well. In the eyes of Hung Jun and Sanking, the human race is nothing more than a tool. If it weren't for the destiny of the sect and inheritance, would they care about the life and death of the human race? Xianyuan was about to speak angrily, but was interrupted again. Don't rush to refute me. If Sanking and Hung Jun really valued the human race, we would not have been almost wiped out by the monsters in ancient times, and the 3 emperors of the ancient human race would not have died on the battlefield. Think about it carefully. Forcing yourself to argue will only make people think you are stupid. He waved his sleeves and walked towards the outside of Huoyun Cave. When he came to the entrance of the cave, he stopped. Brother, please comfort them. When you get to Chongshan world, communicate with other monks in the Sea of Chaos. One by one, they will retreat in the fire cloud cave, and their brains will be shut down. After that, he rolled his sleeves and walked out of the cave. Looking at the disappearing figure and the angry figures around him, Fuxi shook his head inwardly. My brother-in-law is not usually so hot-tempered. Maybe he is really disappointed in people like himself. Soon everyone felt that the fire cloud cave was shaking, but it didn't take long for it to calm down again. Suddenly, the space barrier of fire cloud cave disappeared. The next moment, extremely rich innate spiritual energy rolled in, and the concentration was actually dozens of times that of the original fire cloud cave. At this moment, Fuxi suspected that he had arrived at the beginning of the ancient era, when spiritual energy was abundant. Of course, he knew that this was definitely not the ancient world, but the world of Chongshan. Compared with the last time I came here, the spiritual energy is richer and the world is more powerful. He is the Hunyuan Golden Immortal, and his spiritual sense is far more powerful than others, and he can clearly sense the changes in the world of Chongshan. Everyone was astonished and looked around subconsciously. Only then did they realize that the Fire Cloud Cave had turned into Fire Cloud Island, surrounded by rough sea water. Su Junming was still far away, but not long after, a middle-aged monk wearing an apricot yellow Taoist robe, with 3 strands of long beard on his chin, and a hibiscus crown on his head came out of the space passage. Zhen Yuanzi. Someone soon recognized this powerful man who had disappeared in several Yuanhui. Teacher. Su Junming nodded slightly. I'll leave them to you. Explain the rules of our Chongshan world clearly to them, and then take them to the Sea of Chaos and take their spiritual roots to the Chongshan residence. I've already told your wife. Yes. After explaining, Su Junming turned around. Brother, I still have to settle the prehistoric human race, and I will reunite with my eldest brother when I come back. Big things matter. After handing over his hand, Su Junming took a step and disappeared instantly. After dealing with the Fire Cloud Cave, Su Junming placed Der Kishan, King Guishan and Yu Yushan around the central world. The size of these 3 worlds is equivalent to 1/10 of the prehistoric world, and their combined area is about 30% of the central continent of Chongshan world. Although it was opened by the Sanking dynasty, the spiritual energy was not as good as that of Jinao Island, Kunlun Mountain, and Shaoyang Mountain, so the Sanking dynasty did not establish the Taoist temple here. In the past dozen Yuanhui, they were only used to cultivate some elixirs. Most of them are vast mountains and forests, extremely desolate. But it's just right, it can be used to house the human race who have been transferred from the prehistoric continent. Although it is not enough, the rest can be placed on the central continent next to it. Because Chongshan world is growing all the time, 6 or 7 Yuanhui have come down. The several continents in Chongshan world, except for the giant spirit continent and the Wawan continent, are still relatively empty. However, resettling billions of human beings is a big project. Su Junming has the energy, but not the time. Fortunately, after so many years of development, Chongshan Academy has many disciples who are qualified for the job. However, in order to prevent the human monks from becoming dissatisfied and revolting due to sudden changes in their environment, Su Junming took away all the monks who had become immortals. Let them know how powerful it is first before proceeding with the arrangement. After he had arranged these trivial matters, he returned to Hunyuan Stone Ball. How about it, is Xixiao Palace still there? Yes, but it has been obscured by layers of fog. If we didn't have the Dian Divine Mirror, it would be difficult to find it, Renwuji said. Su Junming activated the Dian Divine Mirror, and a magnificent mirror light crossed the boundless chaos and plunged directly into the prehistoric world. Deep in the world, in an inexplicable space surrounded by spiritual energy. Layers of white mist surrounded it, completely covering the Xixiao Palace. It can be seen that above the clouds and mist, a milky white jade dish made of 36 pieces of jade is sprinkled with a lot of spiritual light. Su Junming hesitated for a moment and continued without using the Dian mirror. Now is not the time to alarm Hung Jun. This old man is really good. He can actually create an incarnation that makes it difficult for us to distinguish the true from the false to deal with the Sanking. If we didn't have the Dian mirror, I'm afraid we would be confused by him, Suda said in surprise. How can a person who can defeat so many strong men from the beginning and the ancient times and take advantage of it be ordinary? And that is not an ordinary incarnation, but one of the three corpses, Chen Xianzang said. Three corpses? Three corpses still have souls, Ren Wuji said in surprise. It should be a magical power similar to our previous 7 souls Dao body or 7 souls true body. After all, as long as this kind of magical power exists, we will definitely not be the only ones who practice it. Hung Jun's 3 corpse killing magical power is famous, so it may not be in this way. So, this old man was hiding something when he taught the 3 pure ones and the 2 saints of the West. With Hung Jun's nature, this is a sure thing. Everyone nodded in agreement. This kind of Hung Jun is normal. If he doesn't spare a hand, he can be counted to death so easily by us. Instead, I have to wonder if he is the Hung Jun we know, the one who has counted all the people in the world, Ao Tian said. But this guy is really willing to throw the Kinkan Ding out as bait, Ren Wuji said. If it were me, I would definitely throw out the Kinkan Ding and the Chaos Bell together, leaving only the core jade dish of creation. Otherwise, even if I die, others will see the flaws, the Dragon Emperor said coldly. Su Junming waved his hand, and a bronze tripod and a big green bell flew out. The mighty aura reveals their own powerful Taoist charm. Hung Jun did throw the Kinkan cauldron and the Chaos Bell, but before he had time to use the latter, I used the soul falling bell to knock down the soul and snatch it away. The Kinkan cauldron and the Chaos Bell. Suda's eyes lit up and he rushed forward. Before he could get it, the 2 treasures had been taken away by Su Junming. My dear, these are the Kinkan cauldron and the Chaos Bell, the most precious treasures in the ancient world. Can you show them to me? I'll just take a look at them. I don't know you well yet. If you look at it, I'm afraid I won't be able to figure it out. With a wave of his hand, the Chaos Bell flew towards Pan Tuo. Old BA, you practice martial arts and sealing. This Chaos Bell is the top innate spiritual treasure of the 49 innate divine forbidden sealings. With a little nourishment, you can survive the catastrophe and become a low-grade Hongmeng spiritual treasure. I'll leave it to you. Hey, thank you boss. Pan Tuo put it away without ceremony. When Lingbao reaches the Hongmeng stage, there is no distinction between prior and acquired, and each piece carries the great truth. As for the Kinkan Ding, Su Junming put it away. This treasure contains the laws of creation, so it was naturally given to Nuwa. Moreover, she has been in charge of this treasure for many years and is very familiar with it. Thanks to the book friend 11 Bodhi for the 100 starting coin reward, thank you very much. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 1173. Boss, you are too biased. Pan Tuo already has the giant arm of destruction. Plus this chaos clock that can advance to Hongmeng at any time. Doesn't it mean that he has 2 Hongmeng spiritual treasures? In comparison, we are still bare bones. Yasuda said dissatisfied. The great arm of destruction is now mine. Suda looked at him taking it for granted, with a look of resentment on his face. Who makes me the boss? Okay, put away your stinky face, Lao Chi is about to leave seclusion, and you will naturally have your Hongmeng Lingbao by then. Really, Suda turned from worry to joy in an instant. You're a real money addict. Hey, I'm not like this for a day or two. Suda, who was not ashamed, said quickly, Lao Chi is really going to leave seclusion. If nothing else happens, it will only be in the next few years. Su Junming shared the Tiangong Taoist practice with the Tiangong Taoist, so he could naturally clearly feel the changes in the aura of the Tiangong divine furnace, and thus judge the progress of the treasure refining. Great, Fifth master finally has Hongmeng Lingbao to use. Seeing his happy look, Su Junming smiled slightly and said to himself, I hope that when Lao Wu sees the baby, he won't be disappointed. Third and sixth, you two should go for a run. Hung Jun has been tricked, and some branches and vines should be cleaned up. After all, if he really escapes, it will be a troublesome thing in the future. But you have to choose the right time to take action. This is the escape route arranged by Hung Jun. Once it is cut off, it will be easy for him to notice our arrangement and cause trouble. Dragon Emperor and Chen Xianzang nodded. Boom! A magnificent aura rose into the sky, and the huge movement instantly attracted everyone's attention. Lao Qi is out of seclusion. Ren Wuji looked excited. Finally the long-awaited arrival. Su De rubbed his hands and looked forward to it. In the endless aura, 4 rays of light, 1 big and 3 small, soared into the sky. Across the tens of millions of miles of chaos, everyone can clearly sense the extremely sharp energy. It's like billions of sword lights flying across the sky, tens of billions of golden needles shooting together, extremely vast and extremely powerful. Boom, billowing calamity energy is coming. The mighty thunder light roared like a writhing dragon. Not long after, the first lightning strike fell. It can be seen that the thunder tribulations of the 4 spiritual treasures are obviously different. The one in the middle is the largest, and the ones around it are relatively smaller. Rumble. The lightning tribulations were struck down one after another, becoming more and more powerful, and the 4 spiritual treasures reacted differently. The long sword in the middle is still strong, but the 3 long needles around it are trembling, as if they can't hold on. Boom! A long needle could not hold on during the 73rd thunder tribulation, the internal forbidden law collapsed, and the tribulation failed. Everyone's expressions changed. It's not like they have never seen a spirit treasure that failed to overcome a tribulation, but this is a Hongmeng spirit treasure. It is very precious, and missing one of it would hurt very much. However, this is not the end. The second long needle persisted until the 79th thunder tribulation, but it could not withstand it and was destroyed by the thunder tribulation. Fortunately, the last long needle and magic sword survived the last wave of thunder and became the Hongmeng Lingbao. Seeing the aura of creation falling from the sky, Su De let out a long breath. Fortunately, 2 of them succeeded. I thought they would all fail. Taoist Tiangong flew over. In the palm of his hand, he held a 3-foot 9-inch silver-white magic sword with a rhombus-shaped blade covered with a round head, like an ancient bronze sword. The 2 ancient spiritual patterns on the hilt were also among the few that Su Junming understood. Kanyang spirit pattern. The word means 5 elements. Secondly, there is a long needle 3 inches long, shining with silver, and sharp at both ends. The long needle is covered with fine lavender lines, like blood vessels, extending throughout the long needle. If you look carefully, these lines are also the Kanyang spirit pattern, which is called Ju. Su De reached out and made a move, and the magic sword flew over. 3 Hunyuan spiritual restrictions. Tiangong Taoist drooled with envy. But this name is too ordinary. The 5 elements sword is not as domineering as the immortal killer or the ultimate immortal. It doesn't even sound like a killing treasure. The Dragon Emperor used his magic power to take back the magic sword. What do you know? At the stage of Hongmeng Lingbao, the name contains the principles of Tao. The 5 elements sword can exert the power of my 5 elements Tao better than anything like killing immortals or killing spirits. Even with his calmness, he couldn't help but feel happy in his heart after receiving the Hongmeng spiritual treasure. Su De glanced enviously and was about to get the silver needle, but was unexpectedly beaten to the spot by Ren Wuji. Su De was furious. Ren Lao you steal my baby. Hey, take your time. I didn't say I would definitely give you this excellent needle. Lao Wu, we made an agreement in advance. If you take this magic needle and destroy Shen Ni, the Earth and Human Emperor clans, the Huangshen Pagoda and the Qian Kun swords, it will be none of your business. Ao Tian smiled. That's right, that's right. Hongmeng Lingbao is precious, and everyone should share one. If you get the absolute God needle, you won't have a share in the rest. Chen Xianzang agreed. Su De hesitated. Although the Jushin needle is good, it is just a Hongmeng prohibition, and it is almost the worst Hongmeng spiritual treasure. Although he is greedy for money, he does not want this worst treasure. He gritted his teeth. You guys divide it, I don't want it anymore. Renwuji smiled, and after playing with it for a while, he threw out the Jushen needle. I major in Yin Yang Dao, and the double swords of heaven and earth are facing my path, so you can divide the Jushen needle among yourselves. Ao Tian looked at Chen Xianzang. Lao Lu, do you want it? The latter shook his head. I major in the path of cause and effect. I'm not interested in fighting the enemy with open fire. Killing the enemy hundreds of millions of miles away with magic is what I should do. With a flick of his finger, the divine needle flew towards Ao Tian. You should keep this treasure. Haha, I want it, I want it. After putting it away, he turned his head and said, Old Chi, the other two magic needles for refining waste must still be there. Taoist Tiangong nodded and spread his palms, revealing two curved silver needles. These two were the first ones I made. The materials were limited. When I was arranging the forbidden method, something went wrong. In comparison, the last one has the most complete prohibition, so I succeeded. If I practice again, will I be able to succeed? With experience, you can do it. That's good. Ao Tian turned his head. Boss, use your spatial magical power to return to your roots and let Lao Chi practice it again. Su De suddenly realized and said angrily, why did I forget this section? If I practice it again, the 3 silver needles form a set, which will be 3 low-grade spiritual treasures banned by Hongmeng. It is no worse than Lao San's 5 elements sword. Hey, Su Lao, it's too late to regret it now. Renwuji smiled. Humph. I'm too lazy to talk to you. The 5th master's goal is the desolate god tower. Combining this treasure with my Tai golden ship, we will definitely be able to refine a treasure. Who knows if we can even achieve a middle-grade Hongmeng spiritual treasure in the future. I will be envious when the time comes. Kill you. You'd better wait until you get the baby. Su Junming stretched out his hand, and 2 spent silver needles flew into his hand. It will take time for Hongmeng spiritual materials to return to their origins. Now that the war is imminent, we can only leave it to the future. No problem. Anyway, having the absolute divine needle is enough for me to use now. But after this battle, I will be given a set of 3 talents absolute divine needle. Okay, if Lao Chi doesn't refine it for you, then I will refine it for you, Su Junming said. Is this what you said? Certainly. Tiangong Taoist didn't care about their division of treasures and went directly to Su Junming. Where is the origin of Black Lotus? Don't worry, I won't miss you. As soon as he took a step, the infinite space shrank under his feet. In just 2 or 3 steps, he crossed the endless chaos and arrived at the body of Tiangong Taoist. Between the 2 heads, there is a 33rd grade chaotic green lotus that blooms 9 feet in length, absorbing the infinite energy of chaos. The lotus stem, which is as thick as an adult's arm and has light spikes, goes straight downwards. 24 grade lotus leaves the size of millstones float on the Hongmeng creation spiritual water that shines with 9-color spiritual light. There are already about 5 acres of good fortune spiritual water, with jade lotus roots that are about 18 feet thick and 100 feet long in total, exuding strong vitality. Su Junming took out the origin of the 9th grade black lotus that had been refined for a long time. There is no need to activate it. The moment it appears, it is captured by the chaos Jinglian and taken into the body. For a moment, time seemed to have stopped. It feels like the breathtaking tranquility just before a volcano erupts. Sudden. The mighty aura of creation soared into the sky. The light with a diameter of millions of feet is like a giant pillar supporting the sky, penetrating the entire space in the Hunyuan stone ball. An invisible swallowing force expanded rapidly, covering most of the chaos stone ball almost like lightning. It should be noted that after the continuous development by Su Junming and Taoist Tiangong, the space area here is as large as nearly 1,000 prehistoric worlds. In fact, if it were not limited to materials, with Su Junming's current space skills and weapon refining abilities, the space here would be even larger. Several UN will come, and most of the chaotic spiritual energy stored inside the Hunyuan stone ball, which is far thicker than the outside world, is absorbed and refined in an instant. Under the endless light of creation, the third-grade green lotus petals were slowly drawn out. The milky white lotus platform's aura of creation instantly became dozens of times stronger, and the 36 milky white lotus seeds of creation also sprouted sharp corners. New lotus leaves grew out, from 24 to 28, and the jade lotus roots at the lower end also grew rapidly, from 18 to 24 nodes. At the same time, a Hongmeng spiritual taboo containing a rich aura of creation was derived. The 9 Hongmeng created spiritual prisons are connected with each other, and their power is hundreds of times stronger. Su Junming was excited as he watched drops of Hongmen's creation spirit water being rapidly generated. As the Chaos Green Lotus was restored to integrity, the speed of Hongmen's creation of spiritual water increased rapidly. However, in a moment, the original 5 acres of spiritual water had turned into 6 acres. And it's still growing rapidly. Su Junming's heart moved, and a gourd vine flew out of his body, and the rich 12-color spiritual light shone hundreds of millions of miles away. Soon, the Hongmeng creation spirit water gurgled in and was absorbed and refined by the gourd vine. Visible to the naked eye, the 12-color spiritual light of the gourd vine is getting stronger and stronger, and magical spiritual patterns emerge from the vines and branches. Although the gourd vine maintains a size of 3 feet, it gives the impression that it is growing rapidly. The 12 gourds that could still be seen clearly slowly shrink and are gradually hidden under the leaves. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 1174. Feeling the rapid improvement of Calabash Vine, Su Junming secretly looked forward to it. Soon. Seeing that the Hongmeng creation spiritual water had shrunk to only 2 acres, he hesitated whether to stop. After all, the Tiangong Taoist over there was already distressed. "Boss, I can't use it anymore, please give me some foundation." It was rare to see him begging like this, which made Su Junming feel a little unbearable. Just as he was about to speak, the gourd vine suddenly sucked in, and most of the 2 acres of Hongmen's spiritual water was instantly lost. The faces of Tiangong Taoists turned green. Just at this moment, an inexplicable aura flew away. The gourd vine, which was originally only 3 feet in size, quickly expanded like a divine dragon. Thousands of feet, 10,000 feet, millions of feet, tens of millions of feet, but in just a moment, it has reached 1.292 million feet. The huge gourd vine is like a majestic giant mountain, and the vast 12-color spiritual light illuminates most of the chaos. Gourds the size of planets float in the leaves with the chaotic energy. Every gourd exudes infinite mystery. Boom! Along with the thunder, billowing chaos energy flew from all directions. Because most of the chaos energy in the previous chaotic stone ball was absorbed by the creation Qinglian, the formation of the calamity cloud this time took an extra long time. Taking advantage of the opportunity, Tiangong Taoist hurriedly put away his 2-headed black turtle avatar and took the creation Qinglian far away from the radiation range of the heavenly tribulation. Su Junming also followed suit, looking at his painful appearance, and shook his head. After this time, for a while, there was no need to collect the spiritual water of the green lotus. Renwuji, Dragon Emperor, and others also flew over. "Oh my god, is my gourd vine finally going to advance to Hongmeng?" It would be great if I also had a Hongmeng spiritual root that matches my destiny, Su De said enviously. The third child's congenital 5-needle pine is still possible, but the rest of us have no chance. Ao Tian shook his head in disappointment. He studied the Emperor's Way and had never heard of any spiritual roots that fit the Emperor's Way. If not, just cultivate it yourself. The spiritual roots in the world are also nurtured by the Dao. Now you and I have understood the realm of Hongmeng and have the foundation to cultivate spiritual roots by ourselves, even Hongmeng spiritual roots. It is nothing more than the amount of time it takes. Renwuji said. Aren't you talking nonsense? I have hundreds or even thousands of Yuanhui's time. Isn't it easy to cultivate a low-grade Hongmeng spiritual root? I have this spare time, why not use it for cultivation? We will all advance in time. Hongmeng Tianzun, Su De said. You want to become a Hongmeng Tianzun after spending 1,000 yuan? I'm afraid you are thinking nonsense. If it were that simple, the Tianzun would have run away all over the chaos, Renwuji sneered mercilessly. Hey, just because others are not good, it doesn't mean we are not good. The boss's time method can turn 1,000 yuan society into 100,000 yuan society. Coupled with the Dian Divine Mirror, if we practice hard, there won't be any chance at all. Chen Xianzang shook his head. If we can capture Hung Jun's jade plate of creation and combine it with the Dian Divine Mirror, it will most likely become a top Hongmeng treasure with 12 Hongmeng spiritual restrictions. The blessing to understanding will be stronger, but as our cultivation continues to improve, this effect will gradually weaken. After reaching the Supreme Realm, the help of the Dian Divine Mirror will become very limited. If we want to achieve the Heavenly Realm, we have to rely on ourselves. The help of spiritual treasures and spiritual roots is not as great as imagined. Unless the Dian Divine Mirror can go one step further and become another treasure that we can't imagine, but this is unlikely. Even if it could, it would be too difficult. After everyone pondered for a moment, they nodded in agreement. The higher the cultivation level, the more limited the treasure's help will be. The key is still the monk himself. Chance, luck, perseverance, and understanding are all indispensable. The reason why Su Junming insists on dual cultivation of martial arts is because at the last moment, if qi refining fails, he will have another martial arts path that does not require so high a level of understanding to choose. Lao Lu understands. The road to the heavenly realm is destined to be long and lonely. If you keep practicing and practicing again and again, I'm afraid you will become possessed by obsession before you reach the supreme realm. It's better to have some fun for yourself and adjust your state of mind after practicing. Maybe it will help your practice and speed up your practice in the end. After a pause, Renwuji glanced at everyone. No matter what you think, I have decided anyway. When things happen in the prehistoric world, I will go and get the yin-yang albizia lotus from the boss's creation spirit pond. Haha, second son, do you want to have a few little ones by yourself? In fact, the relationship between men and women is quite interesting. With your cultivation level, there are many female cultivators with good appearance and good cultivation who are willing to serve you. Ao Tian laughed. Get lost. The second master is not your stallion. The yin-yang albizia lotus contains the charm of yin and yang dao. It not only fits my path, but also saves me countless efforts to nurture creation. This is the foundation. The second brother is right. The practice in Hongmeng realm is long and lonely, and having a spiritual root by your side can greatly alleviate the demonic obstacles in your heart, the Dragon Emperor said. Boom, the mighty thunder interrupted everyone's communication. In the blink of an eye, the first lightning strike from Calabash Vine struck down. The tenacity of the gourd vine is beyond imagination, and even though the thunder is rolling, it has not lost a single bit. In fact, everyone is not worried about whether the calabash vine can survive the heavenly tribulation. The 12 gourds that have reached the perfection of the Hunyuan spiritual treasure and are only one step away from breaking through the Hongmeng are enough to cope with the final calamity of the Hunyuan. This is also true. The thunder struck down one after another, no matter how violent it is, will be absorbed and refined by the 12 gourds. Even if it was the last thunder disaster, the 4 gourds of space, seal, 5 elements, and swallowing took turns to come forward and eliminate them all. As the mighty spiritual energy of creation descended from the sky, Su Junming's heart moved and he completely relaxed his mind, vibrating all the talismans in his danshan. Gradually, the gourd vine, which originally only had 12 colors, gained a light blue color. At the same time, a new light blue gourd grew between the branches of the gourd vine. A strong aura of destiny filled the air from the gourd. 13 gourds. Renwuji said in surprise. Obviously, this gourd vine has been completely refined by me, and has truly become the Hongmeng spiritual root of the great path he has cultivated, said the Dragon Emperor. Just like before, Renwuji planned to use his own path to continuously nourish and cultivate the yin and yang acacia lotus, hoping to turn it into a Hongmeng spiritual root that truly fits his own path. Calabash vine passed through Su Junming for several yuanhui, no, if you count the time that slowed down, there were at least hundreds of yuanhui. After such a long period of time and continuous absorption of chaotic spiritual energy, the gourd vine grew from a seedling into a top-notch innate spiritual root. At the same time, the 12 gourds all turned into the 49 innate spiritual treasures forbidden by the innate gods. Originally, he planned to use the Grand Meng spiritual water to advance all the gourd vines and 12 gourds to the Grand Meng level, but after working hard for a while, he had to give up. Without it, too many resources are consumed. I had to give up the latter, let the gourd vine advance first, and then plan the gourd. But what surprised him was that when Calabash vine advanced, it was also completely marked with his own soul. From then on, this gourd vine completely became his natal spiritual root, synchronizing with his great realm. Suda looked at the huge gourd vine that had grown to a size of hundreds of billions of meters under the infinite aura of creation, with an earth-shattering momentum. Suda's face was filled with envy. I have decided that I will go to the boss's creation spirit island later and look for a spiritual root to cultivate. Pan Tuo, who had been silent, touched his chin and became thoughtful. I major in martial arts and sealing. Which spiritual root is more suitable? At this moment, Su Junming was completely immersed in the joy of breaking through the realm of Calabash vine. Seeing that after completely absorbing all the spiritual energy of creation, the gourd vine was tens of trillions in size, comparable to 1/10 of the size of the ancient world, I felt extremely satisfied. He could clearly feel how flexible and sensitive he was with the gourd vines. It seemed that it was not a huge gourd vine, but his own limbs. As soon as his heart moved, the huge gourd vine started to move instantly. The vines were like a dragon shaking the sky, flying straight towards the Dragon Emperor and the others. Haha, how about trying my new baby? Hey, just give it a try. Look at my Pan Tuo divine sword. Pan Tuo, the most militant, used his palm as a sword and stabbed straight in the air. The next moment, energy and blood exploded, and the mighty bloody sword energy flew towards the gourd vine like an overwhelming force. But what shocked people was that the sword energy, as powerful as a mountain or a sea, melted silently like snowflakes under the bright sun the moment it touched the gourd vine. No, more accurately, swallowed. Pan Tuo did not believe in evil and activated his sword light repeatedly, even using the new chaos clock. Unfortunately, no matter how he urged it, all the Taoist techniques were absorbed and refined by the gourd vine, and not even a single gourd leaf was destroyed. The Dragon Emperor's heart moved, and the 5 elements of divine light fell from the sky. When the two phases met, the feeling of the great 5-element divine light seemed to hit a vast and solid void. Before he could fully appreciate it, the energy of the 5 elements in the divine light had already been aroused and poured out. He frowned and quickly withdrew his divine light. Renwiji used yin and yang Taoism, but the outcome was similar. Oh my god, why are you such a perverted gourd vine? Renwiji was speechless. As Su Junming thought, the huge gourd vine turned into a green light and fell into his palm. The Hongmeng spiritual root, which was once tens of billions, is now only 3 feet long. The whole body is shrouded in 13 colors of divine light, floating and mysterious. After the trial just now, he was very satisfied with the power of this baby. Seeing the surprised expressions of the Dragon Emperor and others, he couldn't help but smile. This treasure has been completely refined by me and has become my destiny treasure. Therefore, any space path, soul path, Tiangong path, emperor path, martial arts path, yin and yang path, creation path, sealing path, 5 elements path, swallowing path, etc. The Tao of time, the Tao of cause and effect, and the Tao of fate, the 13 great Tao Dharma. As long as the realm does not exceed mine, they will all be swallowed up and refined by my gourd spiritual root, and become the nutrition for the growth of the spiritual root and the 13 gourds.